Always look on the bright side of life. Life, you never saw my wife. That was the second single we had after Who the Fuck is Alice. But that one didn't make the charge. So still a nice song, right? This is the last time I wear this jacket, actually. And the lucky guy that won it is Luke Robertson. Luke Robertson, I will send you this jacket. Congratulations. Because you gave me a great idea and I want to pitch it tonight. Because he said, Frank, what if we come to Amsterdam when we are allowed again to come to the Heineken experience and you guide us through the Heineken experience, and at the end we will have a live masterclass by you. Would that be a great idea? And I was like, hell yeah, that's a great idea. So only for that idea, I give him my jacket. So congratulations. I hit the 1,000 subscribers. Now I just need 4,000 hours of watching. So keep watching, keep sharing, and like my daughter always say, thumbs up. Okay. This little tutorial is again going to be on nucleation or nucleation or whatever you guys call it. And to really explain what is the thought behind it, we are going to deep dive into the beer. A couple of minutes ago, actually, let's not do that. I poured a beer, and this was very cold, so there was nothing really happening in the glass. So I wanted to test it. So I threw like a peanut in it, and then the CO2 started to react on it. But it will only happen when it has a certain temperature, let's say 2.5, 3 degrees Celsius. Otherwise, the CO2 stays in solution, as we call it. So we have a beer molecule, and in between there is CO2. So when it is warm enough, like the CO2 is going to extract, actually, it's going out of solution. The reaction is foam and also the liveliness in the glass. So that is what I wanted to show here. You see, I poured this, I let some beer fall in the glass a couple of minutes ago, and it gives the beer a lively look. Now, a lot of people like the lively look in the glass, in the beer. But if you really think of it, there is something else going on. You know why there is CO2 in the beer, right? CO2 is responsible for refreshment and digestion. Now, the fact that you're able to drink a lot of beer in a pretty small period of time, which is not an advice, by the way, has to do with the fact that this drink is carbonated, has CO2. So when I was on a diet, like a couple of years ago, the dietist told me I should not drink carbonated water. And I was like, yeah, I don't drink carbonated water, but what's the problem? I mean, there's no sugar in it, there's no fat in it, so why shouldn't I drink carbonated water? And she was like, the carbonation, the CO2, will start your digestion, so you will become hungry and you start to eat. Aha, I thought. That happens a lot of times when I go out for a few beers. I eat, I drink a couple of beers, and before I go home, and I'll keep it decent, a lot of times I find myself in a kebab shop eating a sheep, and you know, that is not the right thing to do. But I'm hungry because the CO2 empties my stomach, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. I'm going to eat bad ideas like sheep or kebab or whatever. And that fills me up. So this, what we see here is actually not a beer belly, right? The beer doesn't make me fat, but the choices I make when I become hungry because of the CO2 in my belly, that helps me digest and I start to eat stupid choices. So this is not a beer belly, but we call it a snack belly. And there is a great song, other than Who the Fuck is Alice? There's a great song that's called Oh Snack Belly, Bam Balam, Oh Snack Belly, Bam Balam, Black. Snack belly, right? So the CO2 in the beer is responsible for refreshment and digestion. So we want to keep it actually in the beer. But that is why in Holland we use basically non-nucleated glassware. I'm looking for a small one here. We are using non-nucleated or nucleated glassware. And what we do with the rinsing is to create a hydrophilic layer on the outside and on the inside of the glass. So the CO2 is not going to extract in the glass. It's only going to extract when I drink it. So this one will show no life in it. So I pour a great beer. The beer is very cold. Skim it with love under an angle of 45 degrees to seal in the flavor. Then I let it settle. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but I guess you will see there is absolutely no life in this beer. And for us, that's really good because we don't want the CO2 to extract in the glass. It's going basically be less fresh when you drink it. I only want the CO2 to release in my mouth and in my throat. So what I do, always the favorite moment of the day, is take a few sips. So here, the CO2 is going to extract. Here, I'm going to have the CO2 bite. So it's creating saliva that I'm going to swallow. Now my mouth is dry and warm and a little bit bitter. And I take another sip. And the beer is very cold, no nucleation, and there is foam on top. So the CO2 basically is locked up in the beer where it should be, because I only want it to go out in a, you know. So if you, for instance, have a big Moretti pint, if you are going to wash it, the chances are less likely that it's going to react. Okay, because the CO2 will not find any surface that it's able to extract. So when the glass is wet and with a hydrophilic layer on the inside and on the outside, the CO2 sticks to the beer. For instance, when the glass is dry and I'm going to pour it, I will have nucleation. And it looks great. I also like the view of it. But if you look at it, the CO2 is going out. the beer is going to be less fresh and it's going to be flat sooner than this one. Because here the CO2 is still in solution, it's still together, there's nothing happening. The only way where it comes out is here. So you see, I take a sip. There is CO2 in it, but it only comes out in my mouth and in my belly. Now, sometimes you let the CO2 go out, and that's in a burp, and don't burp too hard, otherwise your fontanelle is going to explode. But that is where we need CO2 for. Now, I agree. We all have personal preferences. So I'm okay with everyone loving a big swirl and you think that it has a lively look and all that. You know, I'm okay with that. But if you look at the science and the reason why we have CO2, then you have to come to another conclusion. If you want to keep it in your beer, cold, wash your glass, and basically you should not see anything happen. And if you want to find out if here is foam in the, if is there CO2, yeah, you can do this. You see? There's a lot of CO2 in it. And I released it. You see? I pushed it out of solution and you show it. But is this a fresh beer? No, this is not a fresh beer anymore. From now on, make your own decision and try to put into practice what you hear. And then you decide what you like, what you want, what you think is improved, or you think, hey, that's a lot of rubbish. I just do it the way I always used to, because that's the way my palate is educated. But if you think of the why, and you go back to back, then it comes to, a cold and a clean glass. And why not? I have a pint, it's 7. Now I wash it, and I'm not sure what's going to happen here. Perhaps shines like a mirror, or like my great grandfather used to say, it shines like dog shit in the moonshine. And then I'm going to pour. Beer is a natural product, so you really never know how it's going to react anyway. Although I know the pressure here, I know the temperature, I know the type of glass. This is a perfect pour, if I have to say so myself. Now, and if you look at it, you see there is still liveliness in the glass, although I cleaned it, so it was laser nucleated, so it looks great. And this one will taste great. But I hope I was able to explain the what's and the why behind the CO2 in this ancient thirst quencher. Go find yourself a good spot, buddy, because it's going to be busy tonight. Now, a lot of people ask me, what do I use to wash my glasses? And I think someone is going to be busy tonight. It is a special detergent called Beer Glass Cleaner. Beer Glass Cleaner. Perhaps you can Google it. This is like a few pounds, and you just literally, and I will show you, you just literally need this amount in your rinser, because this is enough to wash it. So this one is specially designed to clean your glassware. And yeah, it's for sale in Holland, not very expensive. And I think this one, when you're in your house, you can do like a year or so with it. So if you are like a bit of a professional drinker. I take this one for another sip, because I have to go to dinner, and then I'm going to have a nice game of tennis. Cheers, guys. Always look on the bright side of life.